what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna show you how to digitally make a zine on Canva. But first, we're going to go through the basics, of course. So what is a zine? Well, essentially, I put two definitions here if you want to check them out. And don't worry, I'm going to provide the slides after so you can refer back to them. It's pretty good information, I must say, that I came up with. But yeah, essentially a zine, what I personally love about zines is that it's really rooted in like DIY ethos, which is like do it yourself. And essentially, like it says here, Wikipedia, it says that it's a self-published work of original or appropriated text and images. And then it's essentially like a little magazine, and it's usually self-produced. And like one of the best things about zines is that a lot of the time they're very accessible and they're made to be accessible. So like what I'm showing you tonight, like it'll be a zine that's printable. You can share it with people, email it to them, or you can print it out and you can send it to them via actual mail. If you've been doing that during the panini, I know I have. But yeah, so that's essentially what a zine is. I'm gonna show you how to make like a little one. Well, I mean, most zines are little, but yeah, I'm going to teach you how to make a specific one that's 5.5 by 8.5 inches. And essentially that's like half of a standard printing page. But yeah, I also included in the slide some like articles that lay down the brief history of zines. Pretty good articles, essentially like a really quick rundown. Zines sort of started like super early if we're talking about it. Like one of the most common uses was like for politics. I think it was like really prevalent during the American Revolution because, you know, people want to get their ideas out there. So they're like, they won't print me, so I'm gonna print myself. And that's the whole spirit of zines essentially, pretty much. But yeah, so that'll give you the rundown. Like I think in the 1950s, like a bunch of sci-fi fans sort of took zines and then they made fanzines and then just like full of sci-fi stuff and like about shows and literature and stuff like that. And then they shared it amongst themselves through zine making. And then my favorite area of zine making was like in the 1970s during the punk movement. So since punk has a very DIY ethos where they're just like, screw everything, they're not going to publish us, so we're going to publish ourselves again, essentially that. So yeah, that's like the brief history, but you can read more in the articles I provided there. But yeah, so what can you use zines for? Well, like I said earlier, the most common use for zines is sharing information, and it can be about any topic. See, that's the beauty of zines. Since it's like independent and you're in control of it, since it's your zine, you can talk about anything. So like I said, here, like you could, if you know how to make something, like for example, a zine, you could put that in an actual zine and it can be a how-to guide. You can talk about your hobbies. So for example, my main hobby is music. So like I make a lot of music zines. Activism, like I said before, people use it to share information. So if you're passionate about something, you could use a zine that it's easily distributable and stuff like that. Fans and fandoms, like I said, the sci-fi fandom, if you're a music fan, you can make zines about that. And also just promo for local stuff. Another great use for zines that I usually use it for is if you're a writer, especially for like film or like you screenwrite or anything like that, a zine can be a really useful visual guide. So like, for example, you want to make a sort of mood board page for like a character, then you can just like gather a bunch of photos that like match that vibe and then put it in your zine and then you can show it to someone and be like, this is my vision. Like you'll have a physical like piece of your vision that you can show people, which may come in handy if you're doing like a portfolio or something like that. But yeah, and again, like I put here, work showcase, if you want to make like a mini photography zine. I know a few people have done that in the past. Selected writing that you've done, you can totally just put in a zine and that's a great way to present it. It also shows off your like creativity visually. Assignments, I heard a lot of you wanted to use zine making for assignments, and I did do that one year. I didn't finish it because I was super stressed, but yes, zines are a great way to present information for assignments that incorporates both words and pictures. And like, yeah, it's also would be pretty cool to have your report like in a physical form. But yeah, and a notebook, like if you're like me and you have a bunch of paper that you thought, because like obviously I'm in the liberal arts, so we write a lot of essays. So if you thought you were gonna like print a lot and you have all this paper left, you can just make a notebook and like, yeah, make it look pretty, like design it yourself. But yeah, okay, so I'm gonna get into it. Oh, and again, if you have any questions, you can ask them at the end, or I'll give you my information after, so like you can ask further questions. Okay, how to make your zine, y'all. Okay, so the first thing you gotta do, unless you want to throw all of that out the window and just be like, no, I don't want to follow rules, because again, that's totally the spirit you can run with zine making. You can do anything in zine making, but yeah, again, if you want like a zine that's actually gonna print well, this is this is the instructions that you gotta follow. But yeah, of course, like square one is deciding what you want your zine to be about. And like I said, like your zine can be about anything. It can feature anything personal to you or not. I will say one thing you should keep in mind when you make zines, unless they're not personal and like you start to make profit off them, you should be careful what pictures you grab off the internet. So like you should check for copyright and stuff like that. So yeah, you don't want to be getting in trouble. Like if you're trying to sell one of your cool little zines and then someone's like, hey, you use my picture, that's illegal. So yeah, you should not do that. But if you like use photos from the internet and like you just keep them in your personal library or you give it to a friend, that's totally okay. But yeah, so protect yourself legally. That's always good advice. But yeah, okay, so another really important thing you need to know about digital zines in particular is that the number of pages must be multiples of 8. And I say specifically 8 because, like I said there, it considers the front and back covers. So like you obviously want to have like a smooth wraparound for your zine so that it covers it so it looks nice. And I think 8 is the lucky number for that. At least that's what I found out. If anybody else has other numbers, that's completely fine. But yeah, so it must be multiples of 8 or more, if I'm not mistaken. But tonight I'm going to show you how to specifically make 16-page and 24-page zines. And if you see right here, I did link a zine table of contents template doc, and again, I'm going to send this after the presentation. And essentially, if you want to plan the pages of your zine, like if you know, if you want to do that, you don't have to, but if you want to plan out the pages of your zines, then the template that you'll see here is just going to like, it maps it out for you. It shows like front cover, back cover, and then all the pages in between. So I think it's a good template. I've used it a few times and it's worked. It's really good for planning. So I've linked it there. And of course, you have to sign up for a Canva account because that's what we're going to be working tonight. So if you don't have a Canva account right now, I mean, you can quickly make one. It's completely free. Don't worry about Pro, but yeah, so that's essentially what we need before we get into it. Okay, so technicalities, like I said, pages must be 8 or multiples of 8 so that the back and front covers are considered when we're flipping through our pages. So the zine dimensions that we're going to be working with tonight are 5.5 by 8.5 inches. And I use that one specifically because essentially it's, hold on, it's like one standard printing page. Or I think it's called, I don't know. But yeah, one of these pages, essentially, it's gonna look like what it would if you folded it. So so when you're printing it out later, it's gonna be like this big. If y'all can see it, I can't see myself. But yeah, it's gonna be this big. So pretty good size, especially if you have writing in there. But yeah, ooh, and a great thing about the 5.5 by 8.5 inch zine is that it'll fit perfectly in a 9 by 12 envelope. So if you know like how big that is, it's like pretty small, but it'll fit perfectly in there. So if you want to share your zines with someone special, like your friends or your family or your significant other, you can easily send it through the mail. It'll lie flat, it'll look beautiful. Perfect. So yeah, these are the dimensions we're going to be working with. And yeah, that's what you need to know to start. And that's the end of my presentation. And like I said, if you need any more information, you have any questions, I've been zine making for like 3 years now, I think. So I don't know if you want any advice, anything like that, just hit me up. That's my personal Ryerson email, but also you can contact the continuous Gmail. And yeah, they'll just forward it to me. And then if you have any other questions about zines, then that's that on that. But yeah, so I guess we can go straight into Canva. So what I was talking about before, y'all, again, like I said, I love Canva. Like, I'm not sponsored by them at all, I swear, but the way Canva has saved my butt a lot, especially working at the continuous, but also just in general, like it's really therapeutic to just do stuff. But yeah, essentially, if you have your Canva account, then you'll see sort of like your dashboard. So I'm just going to show you how to get into it and like to get started. So like I said, you'll probably see this, and then you can press create a design. Okay, and then since we are going to have a custom size, then you just switch it to inches. You put the width as 5.5 and then the height as 8.5. And then, yeah, if you press create new design, then you will get the first page of your zine. And this is what we're going to be working with. And yeah, so like I said, everyone, depending on how many pages you want for your zine, I'll do a 16-page one. But yeah, you just keep adding pages until you hit the right amount. And then you also have to remember that this first page, like, yeah, something to keep in mind is that these two pages will be together, because I don't know, like early on I kept forgetting and then it would look weird. But yeah, just remember that this is the front cover and then the inside of the front cover, if that matters to you. But yeah, so then you just keep adding your pages. And like I said before, pages have to be multiples of 8. So you can have an 8-page zine, which would technically be like, I think 6 pages. Okay, I'm not good at math, so don't quote me on that. But like, yeah, I guess that's the shortest amount of pages you can use for a zine. But yeah, and then essentially you go in, you start designing. I do have Pro because we were just doing a lot of continuous stuff. I do highly recommend, like if there's anything that I would sign up for Pro-wise for a website, I have to admit I love Canva enough that I would get it. Like as a zinester and just like a person who likes creating in general, I think, yeah, that is a good thing to hop on if you want to expand your creativity. But honestly, Canva is so awesome that you can go off even on the free version. Like the free version has so much. So yeah, essentially you do all of that. And then once you're finished designing your pages and you have everything, then this is another awesome thing that Canva provides. Like literally Canva does everything for you. It's awesome. Oh my gosh, wow, they're blocking me because I didn't add anything. Okay, hold on. I'll find something real quick. Okay, I'll do a cowboy. This is gonna be a cowboy zine, y'all. And yeah, it's really fun to just play around in Canva. And then, yeah, cowboy. That's hard to read. Cowboy zine, and then you just, yeah, there. That's the front page of my zine. Yeah, not very good, but just an example. And then I'd have my cowboy content here. But again, like I said, the awesome thing about Canva is that they do a lot of things for you. So unless it's just a simple like zine that you want to share with your friends or anything like that, then PDF is a good way to share zines in particular. Like you could use PNG, but it would save everything as like individual pictures. And with PDF, I will show you how to actually print the booklet, because I know there's a few things you got to do and it's just useful to know these things. But yeah, the best way to probably make your zine ready to print is using the PDF standard or the PDF print. And sometimes it's like print with crops and bleeds, but that's only if you actually want to send it to a place who needs those things. But you don't really have to think about that at this stage. We're just trying to casually zine make, But yeah, essentially you'd like download it as a PDF. And then now I'm going to quickly show you how to actually print something. And I have the Cotton 2K zine. I have the Cotton 2K zine here. And essentially, okay, this is how you print. So once your zine's all done, she looks amazing. She's all dolled up. She's ready to print. She's ready to be off the, like, to the presses. Then, okay, so I also highly recommend, it's free, getting Adobe Acrobat Reader. Like I said, it's free. You can just type that into Google and then download. When when she's ready to print, you think, oh my gosh, she looks amazing. Okay, not trying to like plug us or anything. Oh, but that's our latest zine, by the way. But yeah, that's her zine. And essentially, when she's ready and you want to print her, again, like I said, if you search up Adobe Acrobat Reader, or if you have it right now, that's awesome. But it's free to download, and it's a really awesome tool, because when you go off to print, you have the booklet function. And like I was saying, like they'll set it up for you, and don't worry about this. Our dimensions were like 8.5 by 11, so bigger. But if you follow the instructions that I said before and use the dimensions that I provided, then this will like fill up pretty good. Of course, since you're like self-printing, since you won't have the bleeds, then for standard like printers that you'd use at home, then you'll probably get a white background. But you know what, that's not too bad. Or you can just like cut them off after, but that, you know, that's really DIY, you know? That's how you really like know it's a true zine, if your blood, sweat, and tears are on it. Okay, that's dramatic, but you know. Okay, so booklet, you just choose the booklet function, whatever many pages you have in there. Like if you follow my instructions again, multiples of 8, then it'll be equal. Your front will be your front and your back will be your back. So that's what we wanted. So that sounded weird, but anyway. But yeah, and then you go off to print it. And girl, that's how you get your zine. And yeah, that's that on that.